Alright, I just want to take a little bit of time to explain this oil sender, oil gauge problem that everybody keeps talking about. I've seen a lot of posts about it. Seen a lot of people putting out some complete garbage, ridiculous comments. I don't understand why people need to think they know everything. I don't know everything. I ask questions, but for crying out loud, y'all, if you don't really know, don't post. You're just confusing people. It's getting really old. I even saw somebody say that one of these that these gauge clusters have liquid filled gauges. That's not a liquid filled gauge. There's nothing liquid about that. I assume the guy's never taken one apart before. No offense, not trying to step on anybody's toes here, but I don't understand why everybody's doing this. We don't all need to know everything. People are here to give information. They want to learn something. But when you got a bunch of people just saying whatever they want to for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. It's apparently an internet thing. Stop. But anyway, back to the matter at hand here. We got oil pressure pictures, oil pressure gauge pictures. Sitting on the O. We're worried. Sitting down here. It doesn't matter. This gauge is in idiot light with a needle on it. Here's what it goes to. This is on a turbo, but this isn't actually anything not factory. This is a factory sending unit off of a 92 F350. Okay, sending unit. Use that term loosely. It's not really a sending unit. They call it that, but it's actually a switch. It grounds at 3 psi, it closes, it grounds. You have 12 volts, whatever, runs to the gauge. On the back of the gauge, right here, there's a resistor. This resistor does what it does. It's spec'd to make that gauge sit right dead in the middle. Alright, so when it moves over here, it's coming up when you start the engine. This switch is closing, or this would be nothing. You have a problem in the gauge, you have a problem with that resistor getting weak, you have a problem in some wiring, something like that. If you really want to know what your oil pressure is, if you're really worried about it, if your truck's doing something dumb, get a real gauge. Get one of these. This is an actual sending unit. See how it looks nothing like this? And I don't have mine. Mine is actually on my truck and I can't get to it right now, but it's a whole lot bigger than this. It's a totally different animal. This actually reads oil pressure. This will hook up to a gauge. It'll tell you what's actually going on. If it doesn't do anything, it's because you actually have no oil pressure. These things are junk. This was something that Ford did because people didn't understand how an oil pressure gauge worked and kept bringing them in complaining about it. So this is what they went to stop all the people in the shop about oil pressure being low. Now, you can get a sending unit. You can jump this right here, or take this resistor out, jump these wires from here to here. This does away with this, and you can actually hook up that sending unit in place of this switch, and the gauge will read something. It's not great. I've done it on my truck. It's not awesome. I really thought it was going to be like a Chevy, you know, it would go up and down, and it would be really cool, but it's not. It kind of sits there, but it does move up and down with engine RPM slightly, and it gives you an idea that everything's actually working. If you have a problem with this gauge, it's not the oil you're using, it's not the temperature outside, it's not because the liquid filled part of your gauge is busted, it's not anything ridiculous like that. It's more than likely just because this gauge is worthless. Absolutely 100% worthless. It's no good. If you're worried about oil pressure, get a gauge. It's the only way you're going to tell anything. This thing is useless. That's how it works. That's what it does. Try to clear up any of this confusion because there are all kinds of crazy things getting said about it, and this is one thing I've done a lot of research on and I know, so I figured I'd try to help out. Yeah, once again, guys, you don't know, save it. Somebody who knows can come along and help, and people who actually want to figure it out don't have to wade through all the crap to get to it. This is easy stuff.